I made a mistake that changed my life forever. One wrong door, one wrong hospital room. And in that room was a woman who was dying completely alone. No flowers, no visitors, no one to hold her hand, just machines quietly beeping, and an emptiness that filled the air. I wasn't supposed to be there. I'm not a doctor. I don't work in hospitals, and I avoid them whenever I can. I'm a software engineer. I spend my days behind a screen, debugging code, not watching someone fight for their life. But on that random March afternoon, I followed the wrong hallway, pushed open the wrong door, and met a woman who would unknowingly change everything I thought I knew about love, hope, and miracles. My mom had just had hip replacement surgery, and I was late to visit her. I was juggling a bunch of sunflowers in one hand and a silly balloon that said hip, hooray, in the other, rushing through the hospital. A nurse told me my mom was on the 4th floor, but somehow I ended up on the 5th. I didn't knock. I just walked in and froze. The woman in the bed wasn't my mom. She looked impossibly fragile, pale, and thin, hooked up to more machines than I could count. Her dark hair was spread across the pillow, and her eyes, gray, tired, and haunting, were open. The room was empty. No cards, no photos, no signs that anyone had ever visited her simply to care. Only silence and the rhythmic beeping of machines. She turned her head slowly and looked at me, and then she smiled. Not a big smile, but small, fragile, and kind. "I think you're in the wrong room," she whispered. I started apologizing, fumbling my words, but she glanced at the flowers and said, "Those are beautiful, thank you." Her voice cracked. "No one's brought me flowers in a long time." My chest tightened. I should have left, but I couldn't. I asked if she had anyone visiting. She shook her head. 23 days, she said. I started counting. 23 days since anyone had come to see her, anyone who cared. She had no family left. Friends had stopped coming months ago. And still, she worried about me, telling me to never take my mom for granted. Without thinking, I offered her the flowers. Her hands trembled as she touched the petals, as if they might vanish. "These are the first flowers I've received since my wedding," she said. 6 years, 14 days. She remembered the exact number. That's when she told me her name, Emma, and I told her mine. She thanked me for seeing her. I left the room, found my mom, and tried to shake it off. But all night I couldn't stop thinking about Emma. 23 days of being completely alone. The next day, I went back. Room 512. Her face lit up when she saw me. "Nobody ever comes back," she told me, and I did. Every single day. I brought cookies, stories, books, little things to make the hours more bearable. She told me about her life before cancer, illustrating children's books, loving terrible puns, dreaming of seeing the northern lights. And slowly, I became part of her life, not as a visitor, but as someone she could trust. Eventually, I asked the question I had been avoiding. Why was she completely alone? She took a shaky breath and told me everything. She'd been diagnosed with leukemia 3 years ago, right after her 6th wedding anniversary. Her husband left her in the middle of treatment, took everything, the house, the car, their dog. Friends disappeared one by one. Her parents had already passed, and when the cancer came back, she had nowhere else to go. I told her she wasn't alone anymore, and I meant it. I stayed with her through pain, through treatment, through the silent hours of fear. I slept in the chair beside her bed, read to her when she couldn't hold a book, and held her hair back when she was sick. And somewhere along the way I realized I was in love with her, not despite her illness, because of her courage and kindness. When the doctor warned me not to get my hopes up, I whispered to her in the dark, "Please don't give up. I need more time. I need years." Slowly, miraculously, the impossible began to happen. Her blood work improved, she grew stronger. And one evening, she asked me why I came every day. I told her the truth. I loved her. She cried, saying I deserved someone healthy. I told her I didn't want perfect. I wanted her. 8 months later. We stood in a small hospital chapel and got married in the very place where she had once thought she'd die alone. During the reception, she told everyone that she had once prayed for death because living alone hurt too much. Then she said I walked into her room by accident and came back. Every day. Not just saving her life, but giving her a reason to fight for it. 3 years later, Emma is healthy again. She illustrates children's books. We grow sunflowers in our garden, and last month we found out we're having a daughter. We're naming her Grace, because Grace found us the day I walked into the wrong room. Here's what I want you to take away. Sometimes the wrong door leads to the right life. Sometimes getting lost is the beginning, not the end. Sometimes love shows up when you least expect it, carrying flowers meant for someone else. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs hope. And if you feel lost right now, maybe you're exactly where you're supposed to be.